Hi everyone! What an eventful week it has been. The West African Examinations Council had to cancel some papers because the questions had leaked. What's all that about? Ever thought about how the press do their work and how they are free to receive and present information? Some of you had the opportunity to question the new GJA president about freedom of the press. That was interesting. We also spoke to the Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister about a number of issues which the ministry and society are concerned about. Given the opportunity to make the world a happier place, what would you do? How would you motivate people and make them feel okay? Perhaps you can take a hint from the kid president who wants to make adults more exciting. My name is Ifwa Akwa Harrison and this is News Generation. News Generation, supported by Cowbell Milk.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Now, the West African Examination Council cancelled the Government 1 and 2 papers which were written on Monday, April 22nd in this year's West African Senior School Certificate Examinations. According to WAEC, in the course of regular inspection during the examination, some candidates were found with materials which suggested that the government papers had been compromised. Now, the papers will be rewritten on Friday, May 17, 2013. The council wants all heads of schools to take note of this and make arrangements for those to resit the papers. Investigations are underway to determine the full facts of the malpractice. Meanwhile, WAEC has warned candidates against examination malpractice, such as taking foreign material, mobile phones, programmed calculators, or other electronic communication devices into the examination halls. We are going to speak to Agnes Tekujo, who is the Principal Public Affairs Officer of WAEC, about the issue. Thank you for joining us on the phone, Madam. Now, has the Council been able to determine how the papers were compromised?
No, investigations are still ongoing.
How soon will the public be able to know something?
Well, when the investigations are completed, we'll be able to tell you something.
Okay. How effective have measures to tackle examination malpractices been?
Before and after every examination, we look at how the exam went. We assess. We do follow-up to find out how things went and then to put in place measures where we think that let's open a depot here, let's fortify this. So we will still continue to go on with our publicity and sensitization campaigns and also to tighten the security measures that we put in place.
Now, would you say the nature of exam malpractices have changed over the years?
I'll say that candidates try to find new ways to outwit us because they know some of them, for example, during last year's NOSDEC, we noticed that candidates, instead of maybe hiding the foreign materials in their pockets and things so you can see them, some of them have gone to the extent of tying them round their legs. So they wear trousers or something, and then they tie a mobile phone or they tie sheets of paper with material on them round their legs. We've even published that in the papers for members of the public to know. So they try to hide these things, the phones and things. That's why we've introduced, for example, this year and last year, we introduced the use of metal detectors. So no matter where you hide a mobile phone, the metal detector will be able to alert us and know that this candidate has hidden this on his or her body. Now, for example, this year we have introduced biometric registrations. We realized that NOSDEC impersonation is one of the number one exam malpractices that we recall at the NOSDEC. So we've introduced biometric registration such that before you enter the exam room, your biometric data has been captured. So you do the biometric verification to make sure that nobody impersonates another person at the exam hall. When it gets to compromising of exam papers, for example, with the BEC, we notice at first the supervisors come for the question, both the morning and afternoon papers at the same time. Now we have realized that when we give it to them, some people are able to open the question papers ahead of time, and then the papers are compromised. So now you take one paper, then you come for another one, even though it's more cost.
With that being said, what are the punitive measures WAEC employs when malpractices are not then determined?
Now, if wherever it is that the malpractice is traced, we have in place Act, WAEC Law Act 719. So anybody who, for example, with those compromised papers, anyone who is found to have been involved in that, you'll be taken to court and prosecuted under the Act. Now, if, for example, depending on the malpractice that the candidate engages in, or even an official, be it a WAEC person, be it a supervisor and invigilator, we will have to report the supervisor and invigilator who is a staff of the GES to GES for disciplinary action. If the candidate we need to cancel the subject results, we will. If it's the entire result, we will. So those are some of the sanctions that we have in place.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam.
You're welcome.
Have a good day. So that was Agnes Tay Kujo, the Principal Public Affairs Officer of WAEC. She hasn't given us a definite time when they will exactly find out how the government 1 and 2 papers were compromised, but they will let us know when they come up with their conclusions. So what's up? We know many students are busy writing papers, eager to make good marks and grades despite some anxiety. And obviously it has not all been smooth for the West African Examinations Council after it detected some students had foreknowledge of the government paper examination questions. So we asked some of you, what's up with examination malpractice?
Own opinion, I think is bad, and then it is the act of students bringing irrelevant materials or copying in the examination hall, which is not helpful. It doesn't make the students to learn. It doesn't encourage the students to concentrate or focus on the learning.
For me, I think it's a bad habit since inside the examination hall, there are rules set for us to follow, and one of it is not to bring foreign materials, that's other papers or other things apart from the question paper and then the answer sheet that will be given there.
I think examination malpractice goes a long way to affect the other colleagues in the sense that an innocent person in the same examination room who is innocent of what his colleagues are doing, when their papers are cancelled, all of the students' paper will be cancelled.
I believe it's a bad practice because normally if students using those malpractice materials perform better, it doesn't show a fair view of the actual results.
It's really bad because it falsifies the ability of the students, and also, let's say, digital laziness as well. It brings about laziness among students.
What I think that is not good for students due to the fact that the students fail to study, and also their mind is also filled with apo. So due to that circumstances, they may engage in that malpractices, taking papers along with them to the examination hall.
World Press Freedom Day is observed every May 3rd to stand up for freedom of expression. Now, it's about the freedom to publish and inform and freedom to receive information. This year, focus was on Safe to Speak, securing freedom of expression in all media. That is why some students from Cosmos School went to see the president of the Ghana Journalists Association to ask him some questions about freedom of the press.
My name is Afil Moni. I've been in journalism for over 30 years.
On the whole, how would you like to rate the system of journalism in Ghana?
As we speak, we've just been adjudged the third freest media in Africa. If you take the league table of free media in Africa, Ghana is number 3. Meaning we are very free. And you can tell from the freedom, the speed, the latitude, the space with which people speak their minds. And so if you listen to radio, everybody is speaking their minds.
To you personally, what does freedom mean?
For we in the media, freedom is the essence of our profession. We operate best in an environment of freedom. Understand? So today we are celebrating the freedom you and I enjoy. Most especially those of us in the forefront of disseminating information. We are also using the question to take an inventory of the media landscape. Look at how are we faring? What are our shortfalls? How do we address our shortfalls? And we are also using the occasion to celebrate all journalists who suffer, who sacrifice to bring us the news, whether it is rainy or not.
So does the media represent the development of freedom in this harmony?
Yes, because freedom is what we stand for. And the freedom we enjoy is on behalf of you and her. Understand? So when government misbehave, when officials misbehave, when people are arrested, your voice does not go far or cannot go far, but it will take journalists to expose it.
Thank you, sir. Finally, before we go, I'd like to know what advice or word of motivation you like for journalists and upcoming journalists out there.
So we, as I said, our profession is touted as the best in the world. So it calls for the best in terms of approach, the best in terms of research, the best in terms of language. So if you want to become a journalist, you should also learn, apart from gathering and disseminating information, you should also learn the act of crafting the language. So when you gather the information, for your listeners or viewers or readers to enjoy the information so gathered and written, you need to package it in style.
So what else made headlines during the week? 6 people, including 2 women, are in the grips of the WA police for allegedly attempting to traffic some children to Burkina Faso for ritual purposes. But some residents are demanding the release of the suspects, saying they were going for an initiation rite, which is a common practice among the Lobi ethnic group in the region. About 15 final year students of the Nankpanduri SHS missed out on the ongoing WASI due to renewed clashes between Kokombas and Bimombas in the northern region. The clash, which began Thursday morning, had already claimed 2 lives and injured 3 persons who received treatment at the Baptist Medical Center. There are fears that Ghana's fishing industry could face imminent collapse if the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Fisheries Commission fail to come up with a clear policy to deal with the reported dwindling of fish catch. These were contained in a report on the extent to which transparency, accountability, and equity exist in the use of public resources in some selected metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Chiefs of the Abudu and Andani royal gates in the Dagbon traditional area have indicated their resolve to amicably settle the protracted Yendi skin disputes between them. Both sides have acknowledged that many Dagomba localities in the northern region have remained underdeveloped, largely because of the conflict. That was Local News Round. It's time to take a break. We'll be right back.
Cowbell milk is packed with essential vitamins and minerals for nourishment.
Look.
Build your body and brains.
Welcome back to News Generation. Now, how often do you use the internet and what do you use it for? A study by 2 non-governmental organizations has discovered 30% of children are exposed to pornography in Ghana. The Gender, Children and Social Protection Ministry is worried about this and wants to end gender-based violence on the internet.
The study, conducted by Plan Ghana and the Human Rights Advocacy Center, revealed that gender-based violence on the internet was committed often against girls in schools. 200 students were selected in 6 junior high schools for the survey. The study attributed part of the problem to increasing access to the internet and the use of smartphones at school. The study further suggests students are exposed to nude material on social networking sites. It paints a bad picture of the effects on children, as this often leads to deviant behavior. According to the two NGOs, the worrying trend is the lack of recognition of the problem as gender-based violence. Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nanoye Letha, confirmed this.
Some of them complained about the fact that when they go to school, their colleagues, students, would bring mobile phones, and then they'll have pictures of naked men, naked women, doing all sorts of things. And then even sometimes when the teacher is teaching, they'll be looking at it, and then they'll go to the washroom in the school and do all sorts of things. In trying to address gender-based violence, we haven't factored this area.
Many believe parents and teachers have a significant role to play to put a stop to the problem. It will require equal commitment from internet service providers.
We are looking at engaging with the children. We've engaged with them. Plan Ghana has also engaged with them in 2009. We found out that this is what is happening. The second level is also to make the parents also aware that this is what is happening. So those who have the technical knowledge, and even some of our children can help, that there's a need for us to block certain sites. So as a parent, if your child has access to the internet, you'll have to block certain sites.
Now, the National Communications Authority 11-member National Committee on Girls in ICT is tasked to design and implement a program which will ensure raising awareness. So, it's a new month, and to start off the month was May Day. Ghana, along with over 80 countries, celebrated the day which appreciates workers. How did the day come about, and what happened globally on May Day 2013? The world is talking about International Labour Day. Here in Ghana, May Day celebrations were held in every region, but the president joined workers in Takoradi to celebrate the day there. This year's theme in Ghana addressed pensions amidst labour agitations and strikes from major service providers. But May Day protests were not so mellow on the global scene. Years after the demands for workers to get a standard 8-hour day was recognized, labor issues are still rife, and workers marked the day with protests worldwide. In North America, and specifically the United States' third-largest city of Chicago, May Day marches called for an end to deportation of undocumented immigrants. Americans have been talking illegal immigrant issues for a number of years, debating whether illegal immigrants, who make up an estimated 16% of the U.S.'s labor force, should be allowed to stay in the country or go. In Asia, tens of thousands of workers in Jakarta, Indonesia, called for improved working conditions and were against government plans to cut fuel subsidies. Cambodian government factory workers also demanded higher wages and better working conditions in May Day protests. In Europe, the main public and private sector unions called for a 24-hour strike to protest against the Greek government's strict spending policies. Workers and citizens globally are not happy, but May Day was a chance to express their concerns. Theorist Rosa Luxemburg originates the beginnings of May Day to Australia. In 1856, Australian workers decided to organize a day of no work in April of that year. They had meetings and planned to hold demonstrations on the day to ask for the standard 8-hour working day. After the first celebration had a strong effect on the workers, the Australians decided to repeat the celebration every year. The Americans followed in their footsteps in 1886. They decided that May 1st should be the day of universal work stoppage. On this day, 200,000 of them left their work and demanded the 8-hour day. They were stopped from protesting on the day for many years, but in 1888, they reviewed their decision and decided that the next celebration would be May 1st, 1890. Even after this goal was reached, May Day was not given up. Now, on May 1st every year, over 80 countries hold May Day celebrations as a national holiday to remember and appreciate workers. So, May Day is all about labor and workers, but what about child workers? Many children do not enjoy the fun of being a child and are forced to work against their will. Some of them do not go to school and face dangers in the work they do. The International Labour Organization, ILO, wants to end child labor. Today, we hashtag child workers.
About 250 million children around the world are engaged in child labor, according to the International Labour Organization, ILO. Majority of this work is dangerous to their health and future. A lot of these children work to support their families due to poverty. Research done by the ILO indicates social intervention programs like paying families living in poverty a monthly allowance can help reduce child labor. This has played an important role in bringing down child labor in Brazil. The study also found a link between ill health and child labor. In Zambia and Togo, families rely on children when someone falls sick or dies. A study in Guatemala showed that a child from a household where one member is covered by health insurance is less likely to work. A reliable pension can also help reduce the number of children working, as confirmed by the study. Around 50 to 60% of orphans in Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe live with their grandparents, and studies have shown that pensions have helped reduce child labor in these countries. According to the ILO, social protection measures are key to reducing child labor. In Ghana, about 600,000 children are believed to be engaged in one form of work. What are the social protection measures put in place to fight child labor in Ghana? We tried to find out.
In Ghana, these are interventions or projects and programs by government to help poor people. There are several. For instance, the school feeding that some of the schools are enjoying and the children are enjoying is a social protection intervention, because we provide free hot meals so that children who are in communities that are otherwise not very endowed can have a hot meal in school. The school uniform, the free uniform that is provided for certain schools, is also a social protection intervention. The one that we are managing currently is, we call it LEAP, like you're leaping. Yes, you're leaping, LEAP, Livelihood Empowerment Program. And this LEAP is, we give some monies. At the end of every month, we'll give some monies to some households. So the whole house, mom, dad, cousin, sister, brother in the household will give some money, and that money is supposed to be used for your food, for your health care, for certain, just to support the family. Throughout Ghana, we are in 100 districts, and we are giving a maximum of 45 Ghana cedis.
Let's take a trip around the world to see what happened in some countries during the week. Rescue work on a collapsed building in Bangladesh entered its second week, and officials say they no longer expect to find any survivors. Heavy lifting gear is now being used to raise slabs of concrete at the Rana Plaza garment factory, where at least 380 people died after Wednesday's collapse. It is believed the death toll could reach more than double that, perhaps as many as 1,000. Malaysians go to the polls today, May 5th. The governing party has been in power for a 56-year period. However, the opposition has been gaining ground on a pledge to end corruption. In 2008, the ruling National Front lost its two-thirds parliamentary majority for the first time. Nearly 260,000 people died during the famine that hit Somalia from 2010 to 2012, according to a study. Half of them were children under the age of 5, says the report by the UN and the US-funded Farming Early Warning Systems Network. A day of peaceful May Day rallies in the U.S. city of Seattle turned violent after dark as 8 police officers were hurt and 18 people were arrested. Protesters hurled rocks, bottles and asphalt at officers, smashing cars and shop windows and tipping over bins. Police in riot gear responded with blast ball grenades that released smoke laced with pepper spray. A 5-year-old boy who shot dead his 2-year-old sister in the U.S. state of Kentucky used a gun marketed for children. According to authorities, Christian Sparks was given the .22 caliber rifle called a Cricket as a gift. The Cumberland County coroner said a bullet had been left in the gun ahead of Tuesday's shooting. Caroline's death has been ruled accidental, and it is not clear whether any charges will be filed. Time for another break. When we come back, Sports Round.
Mommy, see 5 tomatoes. Okay, if I take one, how many will be left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Oh, that's my girl. Spell nutrition. N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N. That's my girl.
Will you spell nutrition?
Yeah, N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N.
Wow, a new spelling champion.
Yeah, that's my girl.
There's no mom like you, no noodles like Indomie. That's why caring mothers trust Indomie to give their best to their family.
That's my mom.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Generation. Sports Round coming up.
Class 1 match official Yakubu Nuhu Liman will take charge of the super clash between Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko on Sunday. The Wa-based referee will be center official for the Globe Premier League top liner at the Accra Sports Stadium. Nuhu Liman will be assisted on the lines by Augustine Akugri and Osman Wadrago in the match day 24 clash. Reigning WBA International Africa Super Featherweight champion Emmanuel the Game Boy Tego will take on America Gerardo Robles in an international super featherweight contest in the United States. The bout is scheduled to take place on the 22nd of June at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York City, and will be promoted by Oscar de la Hoya Golden Boy Promotions together with its partners Nelson Promotions. Tego recently defeated Filipino Ronald over 12 grueling rounds. Jose Mourinho insists he has not decided to leave Real Madrid at the end of the season, despite rumors he has already agreed a return to Chelsea. The Blues have refused to comment on reports the Portuguese boss will confirm his return on 1st July. Earlier this week, Mourinho, who is contracted until 2016 at the Bernabeu, said he may not remain as Real coach next season and added he wanted to go where people love him. Organizers of the 2015 Rugby World Cup have announced which stadiums will host the games. 13 different venues have been chosen, including the London Olympic Stadium, where 5 matches will be held. The tournament kicks off in September next year with an opening match at Wickenham.
Have you heard about the Kid President? He's a 10-year-old motivational speaker and YouTube sensation who lives in the United States. Robbie Novak, in collaboration with a group called Soul Pancake, came up with a whole bunch of inspirational videos. Their goal is to make adults less boring and to make the world a happier place. Let's watch this video of Robbie when he went to meet the President of the United States early this year, courtesy YouTube.
Come on, so this is your watch right here. And I think think you should try to sit behind the desk so you look a little more official. Is that right?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure not to cause an international incident. Now, Kid President, what grade are you in?
Third.
Third? Third grade? Yeah. This is a telegraph.
Telegraph? What's a telegraph?
Well, a telegraph, it used to be before there were phones, before there was the internet, before there was YouTube.
Electricity.
It was a telegraph, and that's how you communicate from far away. How's school going?
Good.
It's going pretty good? Okay, so because I know you've got all these other activities.
Yeah.
So much demands on your time trying to balance being president and being in the third grade. You know, that's a lot of stuff. But you seem to be handling it pretty well.
Very well.
You do. This is a program from the March on Washington where Dr. King spoke. Have you heard of the I Have a Dream speech? So this is the original program from that. Somebody gave that to me. Of course, is Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
One of our most famous and one of my favorite presidents.
Mine too.
Any advice for me as just an ordinary president as opposed to kid president?
I have one.
Okay.
Well, it's not really advice. Okay. It's just how you're doing.
Okay.
You're doing awesome.
You think I'm doing awesome? Thank you. That means a lot to me. I think you're doing awesome. So both of us, we've got a lot of responsibilities, but we're handling our business.
How can kids and grown-ups work together to change the world?
The most important thing we can all do is to treat each other with kindness and respect, right? So kids, they can learn right away when, in school and on the playground to be nice to each other. And if you see a kid being picked on, you make sure you stand up for them and you treat everybody fairly, no matter what they look like or where they're from. And if you start learning to do that as kids and everybody's respectful of each other and nice to each other, then when they grow up, they'll be doing the same thing and we'll have a lot fewer problems, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. This is the Emancipation Proclamation that Abraham Lincoln signed to free the slaves. And this is a bust of Dr. Martin Luther King. You keep on doing the great work that you're doing. I'll try to do my best. Between the two of us, maybe we can kind of get things going in a good direction. Now, even though we're presidents, can we still hug?
Yeah.
Is that okay? All right, I just want to make sure. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right. You work hard in school, too, though.
Okay.
How you doing? You having a good day? Did you see the president? You did? That's awesome.
Hi, man.
What did he say?
He said, hi. We did small talk.
So that was Robbie Novak, kid president, only 10 years old. How would you like to meet the president of the United States or even the president of Ghana? Well, that's the kind of week it has been here for us at News Generation. See you next week. Before we go, as always, we leave you with this inspirational quote. News Generation, supported by
Cowbell Milk.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.